Welcome to Mastery Fractional CFO's Punchy podcast, short, impactful podcasts where I speak with different business leaders from all walks of life and talk to them about business. I'm your host, Ryan Chenier. I'm the founder and CEO of Mastery Fractional CFO Services. And today I've got with me Loren Remillard. Loren is the president and CEO of the Winnipeg Chamber of Commerce. Loren, tell us about who you are and what you do. Tell us about your business.
Well, first and foremost, thanks for having me on the podcast. Greatly appreciate it. Always a great opportunity time when I'm talking about the chamber, because it ultimately means I'm talking about our members like yourself, and 2,000 plus members that we boast. So, a little bit about myself. My background is policy and politics and communications, but even before that, really. My background is a love of business, and in particular, small and medium-sized enterprises. I grew up in a household where my mom and dad owned a small clothing store, menswear, suits. So literally at an early age, I was oriented towards, the office scenario, given what my parents did. And this was in the late 70s, early 80s, and I really grew up to see firsthand the challenges, the struggles to get your business up to a point. They enjoyed a number of years of success, the joys they had from not just what they did, but what it enabled them to do. And that's be their own bosses, to write their own story and chart their own path, and the freedom that it provided, but at the same time, the responsibility. I also remember my parents, early champions of diversity, equity, inclusion. Like, they were very clear on making sure that they hired their workforce was very reflective of our community, even before people knew that was a thing. So in many ways, they were my role models, and they really introduced me to the world of business. It also introduced me to the challenges of owning and operating a business, because as many of your listeners may know, early 80s was a very difficult time for many small businesses. If you think interest rates were high just coming through the pandemic, try the early 80s when they were in double digits. That caused a lot of businesses not to be able to survive, and my parents' business was one of them. So I saw the highs and the lows and the challenges and the conversations my parents would have with themselves, and it really just shaped me, and to the point where I wanted to make sure that my career was something where I helped people so that they didn't have to kind of go through the same challenges my parents did. So it naturally oriented me into, the service organizations like a Chamber of Commerce. It was really one of my first jobs right out of university, doing policy for the Chamber. I left, went to work for the Feds for 10 years and in many different departments, and then came back and moved up through the ranks into the role I'm in now, which I've had since the summer of 2016. But for those that may not be familiar with a Chamber of Commerce, it's a global organization in the sense that there are chambers in all four corners of this planet. It is one of the most well-known business organizations globally. And effectively, though, global network, local focus. Chambers are strongest in their local communities, cities, small towns, and the such. And we're here to help businesses grow. Our mission is to support to invest in your business, to help your business grow through advocacy, through networking, through community leadership, so that your business grows and prospers, and in doing so contributes to a healthy, vibrant Winnipeg. That is effectively what we are. We are an organization comprised of businesses, nonprofits, charities that are oriented towards helping your business grow. And in doing so, we help Winnipeg grow. I mean, ultimately, we all live in the same community, our city. Anyone listening that's not from Winnipeg, you have your community, and business knows better than anyone else. A healthy business means a healthy community, and vice versa. And that's why chambers are successful. We're a big part of your business's success, and by doing so, a big part of the community's success.
Loren, what do you see as some of the biggest challenges facing small and medium-sized businesses in the local Winnipeg community today? And how does the Chamber help them with those challenges?
Yeah, there's everything from cash flow to, finding savings and efficiencies to growing, effectively just getting outside the day-to-day. I mean, the first challenge, I'll talk about the challenge, then I'll talk about how the ways we help businesses day in, day out. I see the first challenge is our chamber is comprised of about 85% SMEs, so companies with 50 or fewer employees. And that mirrors our city. Our city is a small to mid-size business community. And of course, we have 2,000 members. They run from the small mom and pop shops to the multinationals doing business, again, across the globe. But so we see the challenges of the small and medium enterprises more than anything else, given the size of their population within our membership. Number one concern is so many businesses, especially coming out of the pandemic, and I look forward to never using that word again. But the reality is so many businesses, you just spend an inordinate amount of time, 100% of your time working in your business, putting out fires, addressing needs, making sure this product shipped here, marketing to get your next client, those sorts of things that it's rare that I hear a small business person say, I have enough time to actually work on my business. And we know anyone that listens to podcasts, read books, I mean, that's one of the things they tell you right away. Biggest challenge, carving off time to be strategic with your business. And I know, engaging companies like yours and others that this is the value. This is why that need exists in the marketplace, because so many businesses struggle to find that time where they can just sit back and go, okay, what am I trying to do with my business? Really? I mean, where am I going with it? Not just did I satisfy, did I ship that product today? Did it get to the customer on time? But how do I make sure it's better overall systems wide? So that's the first challenge. There's definitely the day-to-day challenges of where am I finding my next client? How do I market in a world where, yes, we're connected more than ever, but the relationship that underpins good connection is more difficult than it's ever been. How do you cut through the noise? I mean, it was, I grew up in an era where television, radio, and print, those were and magazines, those were your four areas where you reached your market. There was no internet. There was no social media. Now, I mean, you have to have a coordinator and someone specifically focused on every aspect, every pillar of any kind of communication stream, if you will. And they have to be experts in it and everything. It's much more complicated. And it's a challenge for business to better understand where is my customers, current and future, and how can I most effectively connect to them? And what am I saying when I do make that connection? That's something we hear time and time again. And part of that is, how do I better utilize technology? We had our event with the Bank of Canada governor in June of this year, where he talked about the productivity challenge in Canada. And we all know, anyone in business, even anyone that studies business knows, Canada lags. We've been lagging for a long time, the United States and other G7 nations. And the gap's getting wider. And it doesn't seem as though we're really addressing the problem, both, as a business community, but in particular, government policy seems to just continue to identify the problem without any tangible solutions. But one of the ideas that we see is investments in technology, especially the small business community. This is your leveler, if you will, with larger organizations, AI, digital adoption, these sorts of things. But you also have to be strategic, right? So a lot of businesses know they need to be in this space. They don't even know where to start in the space, right? And again, that's when I go back to my first comment. How do business, how do you carve off time to work on your business, not just in it? So how does the chamber help with those? Well, first and foremost, advocacy. We continue to advocate at federal, provincial, municipal, and other governments and organizations on the policy and programming that you need to be successful, right? What kind of tax measures can make it more attractive for you as a business owner to invest in technology and productivity gains? The tax environment itself, corporate tax, personal income tax, those sorts of things that will really help business rise collectively, as opposed to just for a single business. We connect you through our events and programs. Networking is one of the main reasons people join. Why? They've got a lot of questions. and they know the chamber members have a lot of the answers. So they come to our events to hear from a speaker. We just had a partner with EY Canada talk about the entrepreneurial ecosystem. And I can tell you could hear a pin drop in that room because everyone's taking notes. That's the value of a chamber event. You're going to listen to the speaker. You're going to get valuable insight. But then you'll have someone like yourself sitting right beside you at the table that you strike a conversation with. Next thing you know, you're having coffee, talking about some of those ideas, and a business relationship's born either as a client, or as someone that's providing a resource for you to help you do your business better. The chamber connects like no one else in this community. We are a platform for business to connect with one another and information resource to help you do your business better. And lastly, just continuing to provide cost saving programs for our members. I'll tell you, I run into so many businesses that tell me I joined the chamber because I started my business, got my business license, and then instantaneously I went and looked into the group insurance benefits that the chamber provides. We are part of the largest group small business benefits program in the country, over 30,000 small businesses coast to coast. So again, leveling that playing field, our benefits plan is the best in the country and provides the most comprehensive benefits for small businesses that otherwise wouldn't be able to afford and be able to access these kind of benefits. So we help you on advocacy, we help you connect to people and resources, and we help you save money. I mean, at the end of the day, those are the top challenges we see time and time again from business.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Loren, if you're going to give one piece of advice to somebody who's beginning a business in Winnipeg, whether they're planning on growing quickly or whether they're planning on growing slowly or whatever the case might be, in order to be successful in the Winnipeg marketplace, in order to establish yourself and get from the level you're at to the level where you want to be, what advice would you give them?
Best advice I ever offer anyone is that which has been provided to me. On a personal level, I'll say this, and I always talk about focus on your character, not your reputation. Now, as a business, I want to be clear. I'm just differentiating there for a moment. Just when you're in business and be in politics or in community, wherever, I'm just a big believer character is the most important thing. It will define your reputation. There will be those that challenge your reputation, and those are outside your control. So really focus on your character and make that your brand for your business too. But even more so for business, remember that ultimately the most successful businesses that I've seen are problem solvers. I think sometimes I talk to new entrants into the marketplace and they're like, here's my product, here's my service. Okay, but a lot of people are offering similar. Your differentiating is you've identified a unique problem in the marketplace and you become a unique solution provider for said problem. So ultimately, remember that at the core, business is about solving problems for your clients, for community, for others. And orient your business around that. Be a problem solver, solution provider. And that, I think, effectively is what drives a lot of successful business. Because, as we all know, problems grow exponentially, right? So if you're in the problem-solving business, you should have a long run.
Wise advice. No, that's great. Mind your character, provide value, solve problems. These are the fundamentals. They don't change even when technology does. So that's awesome. Okay. Let me ask you this. If somebody's looking at joining the chamber, or if they're just considering joining the chamber, what would you recommend they do? Is there a website you think they should go and look at, or should they look at your LinkedIn profile, or both? Or tell us what you think the best way for somebody to look into that would be.
A couple ways. First, always go to our website. It's the repository of information. So www.winnipeg-chamber.com or Google Winnipeg Chamber of Commerce. We should pop up first on Google, I would imagine. Check it out. But you know what? The best champions for the chamber are not people like me, are not staff. They're you, our members. You invest in this organization. You take your time and money. The two most valuable things a business person has are time and money outside of staffing. Okay. Just like things you can invest is your time and your money in something. So our 2,000 plus members are giving us both their time and their money. So when they turn around and if you're out and thinking about chamber membership and someone runs into Ryan and they ask you like, well, why are you a member? Talk to people that are chamber members. Find out why they're a member, because in them you will get unfiltered, authentic feedback. And I'm offering that because I believe that the reason we're the number one organization in the province, time and time again, according to the Manitoba Business Leaders Index, surveys hundreds of CEOs across the province, we've been number one for a long, long time, because they see the value in the chamber. And I don't know about you, but when I see a peer recommend something to me that has walked kind of the same path I am and understands, has the same pressures and needs, if they're saying this is a good investment, I'm more inclined to consider that a really good investment. So check us out, but also do your due diligence, as you should for any business decision, and talk to a chamber member. They'll give you a great insight. But as well, give me a call. Check me out on LinkedIn. Send me a note. More than happy to talk about the chamber, because I see day in, day out the difference we're making for our members. And nothing was more evident for me than during the pandemic, when I'm on the phone calling and talking to members, some of which were wondering whether tomorrow the lights were going to stay on. And through the work that we did, the advocacy, the networking, connecting to resources, I like to believe that we played a major role in keeping a lot of people's entrepreneurial dream going.
Okay, excellent. All right. Okay, Loren, we've reached the point in the show where I give you the opportunity to ask me, a fractional CFO, any question that you have about business.
It's interesting because you see a lot of the evolution in the business community. Like, I grew up in an era where, you have a need, you hire a full-time staff person for that, right? And then once in a while, you'd have to step back and go, okay, we need to do strategic planning or something like that. So you bring in a consultant. So you understand, even part-time, full-time staffing, and then the odd consultant, the times when you need to engage a consultant. So the discussion of fractional CFO, I guess my question is, as a business owner, operator, when do you, what are the factors that I should be looking at, and the elements that should make me consider, is it time to move to a fractional CFO, or is that do I retain that in-house? What's that transition point? What does that look like?
That's a good question. It varies for different businesses, of course. The whole idea of the fractional expert is that what you're trying to do is tap into executive level experience and resources, tools, support, but on a part-time basis. So you're right. If a business needs a CFO and they go hire a full-time CFO, everybody's somewhat familiar with that concept. A chief financial officer looks after your accounting and finance part of your company and aligns that with the rest of the business. They are performing a very important role. But here's the thing, with small and mid-sized businesses, a full-time on-staff CFO or chief financial officer or chief marketing officer or any other number of executive level type positions, it's not always within the budget. But if you're paying a fraction of the price, or you've got a fraction of that in your budget, then you can tap into the fractional expert. On the CFO side, so this is what we do, the chief financial officer side, if you're a business that's in between maybe $1 million, $2 million, $3 million in annual revenue, all the way up to 40 million, 50 million, it's probably within that range that a full-time on-staff CFO isn't within your budget. A position like that would cost probably $250,000 a year. You might get a local discount, or depending on your industry, you might get somebody who's less expensive. But if you want that level of expertise, that's what a CFO gets paid. Now, that's not within the budget for a smaller to mid-sized business, fine. But what happens, we've found, is that you'll have a bookkeeper on staff, potentially, or you'll have an accountant on staff who's a junior person. But that person isn't going to give you the same results. You don't have the same level of expertise, and so you're not going to get the same results. If you've got a bookkeeper, somebody who's looking after your record keeping, that's great. If they're doing a good job of it, that's fantastic. Almost every company knows they have to file taxes, I hope. And so they have a tax. But the tax accountant is only effective and operating at the end of the year, maybe twice a year if they're going to do some tax planning with you. But if you've got to do financial planning and analysis, if you've got to build a budget and manage to that budget and look at rolling forecasts, if you want to look at your financial key performance indicators and figure out what the drivers of financial success are in your business, that's going to require management accounting. It's going to require cost accounting. It's going to require tools that you wouldn't necessarily be able to use if you could afford them. But these are the things that we bring to the table for our clients. And so we can work with them on a month in, month out basis. We're literally riding co-pilot with them or shotgun and helping them manage their business just like a chief financial officer would on a full-time basis for a larger business. We're not there full-time, but they don't need us full-time. But we're still making sure that the aspects of the business that a chief financial officer would look after are being looked after in their business. So this helps them grow efficiently. This helps them scale effectively. This helps them maximize profit, manage cash flow issues that could otherwise arise, and optimize the value of their business and reach their vision of success, because different businesses, different owners, whatever, they may have a different view of what success is in their business. Now, for example, if you're comfortable working 60 hours a week and never taking vacation, and some people are, your business is going to look different than if you're trying to build a business that you can manage from the sidelines. When you're traveling in Europe for 6 months, you want to make sure your business is being looked after. So you have to build an infrastructure that's different. And all of this requires different management on the financial side. A company needs to understand what the impact of different decisions will be on their financial results. And this is where we help them connect the dots and align operations and business development and finance so that you've got all three functions of the business operating effectively together. That's how the business is going to be most effective and most fun to be a part of. And it's going to be able to create more value in the community and for the shareholders and stakeholders, employees, suppliers, customers, you name it. It's going to help you provide more value. It's going to make your business run more efficiently. The caveat is this: if your business is less than $1 million in annual revenue, you probably just don't need that. You can pretty much manage it all in your head or on a spreadsheet. If you've got a bookkeeper looking after your transactions and you're managing your taxes, that's important. But when it gets more complicated, when you start finding that the cash flow issues are more challenging, you talked about how the challenges get larger. There's like a bullwhip effect where as you grow and you get labor and you've got more things going on and you've got accounts receivable and more sales and all of these different things happening, the timing of the cash starts to become a problem, and just managing everything in your head becomes a problem. So we come in, we save the CEO or the leaders of the business time. Okay, we help them take the time that they've got so that they can spend it on where they're providing the most value to the business and the stakeholders. We're looking after that role for them, and we're helping them when they need the information regarding the accounting and the finance. We're there just like a CFO would be in a full-time business. So you've got the time, you've got the expertise, and we've got software that we've invested in, not just the money to pay for the software, which these days it's getting more and more expensive, but it's more and more impactful. But we're also experts at using the software. So a lot of people these days are saying, well, I'm gonna try Power BI. Great. But it's like anything else. It takes time and energy and expertise, and once you get good at it, you have to maintain your competency because things change on the technological side. And if you're CEO of a business and you're wasting your time on like trying to figure out how QuickBooks works, you're spending your time in the wrong place. So we can talk to you.
Yeah. No one ever accused me of being a tech expert, but I will say this as someone that has employed a CFO previously, and can't stress enough the value I see in the service, be it fractional or full time. Indispensable to the organization to have that person that, as I started at the top of the show talking about, working on the business, not just in it. That's what my CFO and the community has contributed, is allowed me to step back from the day to day and saying, okay, where are we going? What are we trying to accomplish? What problems are we trying to solve? And where are the opportunities going forward? And how do we align our investments accordingly? So can't say enough good things about the activity, the profession, and how it's helped the chamber become and continue to be the organization that we are. So it's my way of saying thank you.
I appreciate that. You're very welcome. And yeah, to anybody who's thinking about whether or not a fractional executive might be a fit for them, whether it be a CFO or anybody else, most of us will have a conversation with you, no charge. We'll just talk about your business, whether or not it's a fit. We can explain how the service would be tailored to your needs. And it's a great way to just look at alternative ways of growing your business, because labor is fantastic and it's needed, but there are other things that you can bring to the table to help bridge the gaps between different stages of your business.
I know we're winding this up, but I will say this. One of the things that I saw pre-pandemic, I don't know if the numbers still hold, but pretty much across the board, you can categorize 84% of the business community as what we call lifestyle entrepreneurs, where it's like, hey, look, I opened my business. I have a decent quality to good quality of life, can take a vacation, send my kids to school, retire comfortably, sell the business. Like, that's kind of the mindset. It's a business to provide a lifestyle, a comfortable lifestyle. And then you have the 16% that are more serial, growth oriented, really aggressive in trying to build their companies. And so I would just say, anyone listening to this going, well, I'm more in the 84%, I'd say, yeah, but we need more people in the serial entrepreneur, and engaging firms like yours and others is a big part of taking some of those that maybe could move into more of a growth mode. I really encourage businesses to make sure that they're asking themselves that question. Here's the problem I'm trying to solve, but what are the opportunities for me as a business owner with this company? Is there a larger opportunity that I'm leaving off the table because I'm not even asking myself that question? And that's where, again, services that you provide and the community provides are, let's get more people thinking growth oriented as opposed to lifestyle. That's kind of my challenge to the community, if you will. And
along those lines, my challenge is let's join those chambers and meet with other business people and make sure we're staying on top of all of these changes.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, listen, thank you, Loren, and to our viewers out there, if you know anybody who might benefit from the information that we've discussed during this podcast, by all means, forward this podcast along or recommend it. And Loren, that's it for our podcast today, but I want to thank you for being a guest. You've been a great guest, and always want to leave the doors of communication open, so we'll do that. And did you have anything else you want to sign off with, or is that good for today?
No, I again appreciate you inviting me on to the podcast. As you had noted, everyone, please Google, check out the Winnipeg Chamber of Commerce. We're here to answer your questions, and our success, your business success is our success. So check us out, see how we can help you.
Okay, thank you. That's it for the podcast today. Goodbye, all.